afternoon, I'm Sean Yao, and this is One News Now. President Bongbong Marcos will be flying to the United States for a bilateral meeting hosted by U.S. President Joe Biden at the White House on May 1st. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the two leaders will discuss regional matters. The meeting will also aim to deepen economic cooperation as well as coordinate efforts to uphold international law and promote a free and open Indo-Pacific. Manila's Foreign Affairs Department said the meeting with Biden will be followed by an expanded meeting with key cabinet officials. Marcos and Biden met last September at the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. United States Trade Representative Karethin Tai tells One News in an exclusive interview that United States businesses want predictability and transparency in countries that they are looking to invest in. Tai told One News' chief correspondent Ed Lingao that business leaders from the U.S. are looking for countries that are transparent with their regulatory processes. She added that investors are less concerned with equity percentages, but more so with sustainability, both in terms of economic activity and the environment. During her visit to Manila, Tai discussed with government officials the negotiations for the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, involving 13 Indo-Pacific nations, which includes the Philippines. Tai has told One News that transparency, rule of law, and good governance are crucial elements in the economic ties between the U.S. and its Indo-Pacific partners.
I'm so delighted that we have the Philippines actively engaging in these negotiations, precisely because if you look at the structure of the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, it is from the United States, our program of engagement for the 21st century to allow us to work with some of our closest partners in this region of the Indo-Pacific to produce economic outcomes that will be resilient, sustainable, and inclusive.
And the government says that the onset of El Nino and high inflation would be a, quote, dangerous combination. NEDA Chief Arsenio Balisacan has assured, though, that government is working to protect the vulnerable sectors from the possible impact of both El Nino and high inflation. The State Weather Bureau had earlier projected that El Nino would likely hit the Philippines at the second half of the year.
Can start planning and putting the necessary adjustments now to reduce the negative effects. Now, with the inflation, the elevated inflation that we have now, if you are unable to reduce that inflation, and then you get this El Nino phenomenon, that is a dangerous combination, and we want to prevent that from happening.
Meanwhile, President Bongbong Marcos has approved the implementation of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP. This trade deal seeks reduced tariff rates between ASEAN nations and partner countries like Australia, Japan, South Korea, New Zealand, and China. The RCEP is considered to be the largest free trade agreement in the world, accounting for a third of global GDP.
The agreement also establishes clear, stable, and predictable rules on trade and investments in our region, which makes it more convenient and competitive for Philippine businesses and investors to be integrated into the global economy.
And Congressman Arnie Teves wants to speak with President Bongbong Marcos to clear his name in the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo and other killings in Negros Oriental. Still out of the country, Teves says he is hopeful that he will be able to reach the president or anyone from the office of the president by phone to discuss the matter. This as the congressman refuses to return to the country, citing threats to his safety. Teves says he is also disheartened because the president seems to believe the accusations against him.
Mag-usap kami ni Presidente, sabihin ko na sa kanya. Yun nga yung malungkot din ako dahil nabalitaan ko na ano ba to sa Tagalog, napapaniwala nila yung Pangulo sa mga impormasyon nila na ako na yung talaga, hindi naman pwedeng ako lang yung paglaanan niya ng panahon na pag-aralan niya ito lahat. Pero kung makita sana ni Pangulo lahat, tingin ko makikita niyo yung katotohanan.
Teves also called for fairness as he hopes to return to the country soon. Teves also shared bouts with depression amid the accusations hurled at him.
Yung anak ni Boying Remulla, ang bilis na pawalang sala, di ba? Sabay, ngayon ako, ang bilis ko magkasala. Wala pang ebidensya, ako na kaagad yung tinuturo. Malungkot, it's sad. I get episodes of depression. It's sad because alam mo anong masakit? Wala sanang problema kung may kasalanan ako eh. Masakit yung deliberate yung panggigipit sa isang tao para sa sariling kapakanan ng ibang tao. Hindi ko kasi gawain yun. At hindi dapat maging gawain ng kahit sinong tao yun, di ba? Iipitin mo yung tao para sa sarili mong kapakanan.
And the Justice Department says that former Corrections Chief Gerald Bantag has sent surrender feelers to authorities. This is after authorities launched a massive manhunt for Bantag and his deputy, Ricardo Zulueta. Justice Chief Boying Remulla says that Bantag spoke to a cabinet official over the past week to signify his intention to turn himself in. Remulla also says that Bantag is still in the Philippines as his arrest warrant bars him from leaving the country.
He spoke to my colleague, one of my colleagues in the cabinet, to say that he may wish to surrender. That's why we are not pushing for law enforcement to hurry up the process. But of course, it is the job of law enforcement still to enforce the warrant of arrest.
Kailan to, sir?
A few days ago, mga 6 days ago,
At how possible yun, sir, na
or 5 days ago.
We're pausing for a quick break, but One News Now will be back with more stories after that. Keep it here. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. Oil spill cleanup operations in Oriental Mindoro could take longer than expected. Civil Defense Administrator Ariel Nepomuceno explained that the siphoning equipment to suck out the remaining fuel from the sunken oil tanker has not yet arrived. Nepomuceno did clarify, though, that the owners of the MT Princess Empress have already rented the equipment. And once it arrives in the country, it could take about a month to siphon the remaining fuel. Latest data from the Philippine Coast Guard shows that 36 kilometers of the 47 kilometers of affected shoreline has already been cleaned.
Ang solusyon po talaga dito sa oil spill na para matapos yung problema ay yung tinatawag na siphoning of the remaining oil na nandun pa sa tangke o sa tanker. Yung pagbuhay ulit dun sa mga trabaho, kabuhayan dun sa area, it will take longer than 2 months.
And here is a quick look at today's other top stories. President Bongbong Marcos extends his warmest salam to the Muslim community as the country observes Eid al-Fitr. In a message, Marcos encourages our Muslim brothers and sisters to sustain the values and teachings learned during the holy month of fasting. The number coding scheme in Metro Manila has been suspended today, April 21. This as the country observes Eid al-Fitr, or the Feast of Ramadan. And the Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines observed a 200% increase on hospitalizations due to dengue fever. 27,000 cases of dengue have been recorded from January to March of this year, which is 94% higher compared to that of the same period last year. One News Now will be back at 3 p.m. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.